Hello, I want to welcome you to a free workshop invitation on December 1st to a workshop on sight reading, and we're calling it Sight Reading Made Simple. In this workshop, we're going to talk about three main things: reading notes, fretting notes, and rhythm. So I just want to flick you through this ebook, and you do get this ebook if you register for the free workshop. You'll also get this ebook here. So here is what we'll be discussing on reading notes. So just reading notes away from the guitar, getting fluent and actually reading notes on the page away from any instrument. It's really important, because if you're slow at reading notes on the music, then it'll slow you down reading on the guitar. So I have some charts to help you out for that, some material to practice with your recall depending on your level. So there's more notes, higher notes, that kind of thing, a higher range there. Studying the movement of notes here, using some more charts to help you with that. I've got some different tasks, studying the intervals from one note to another, some tasks for that. And then fretting notes, a really important aspect obviously on the guitar. So putting those notes onto the guitar, there'll be three main topics here: positions, fingerings, and references. So positions and fingerings here, really important that you know what position you're in at all times and what fingers you're using. And that might sound obvious, but I've noticed lots of guitar players above the first position don't really think about position anymore. And that's one of the big reasons why you can get lost above the first position. So know what position you're in at all times. And having references is really important. So I've got some examples here for more of a beginner piece here. What positions to go in, just the first and second, just knowing exactly what position you're in. The middle position range, which is significantly higher, 3rd to the 9th position, and then the upper position range, advanced, which goes up to the 12th position. So that gives you an idea of that. And here is some work done by Kevin, some fantastic work on Lagrima, where he put in the position. So in the second position to start with 4 and 1, with 1 and 4 reading from the bottom up. And then we're in the 4th position here, and then we're in the 6th position here, and then we go back to the 1st position. And we know what fingering we're using at all times. It's not cheating to write in the positions and the fingerings. All you're doing is just putting what's going on in your head onto the score. That's all you're doing. And this is how you want to think when you're reading music. So this kind of work can be really useful. So obviously when you sight read, you're not going to be writing this in, but you write this in as a way to practice, as a way to get into that way of thinking. So there's a task for that. And then reference is another really important one. What fingers can you hold down? That's what we call pivot notes, notes you can hold down. And then what notes are close to each other? So if they're close to each other, you don't necessarily have to read them. You just know, oh, this note's just a step up or a step down, okay? And then with the pivot notes, you just hold, you know what fingers to hold down. You don't have to kind of worry about them anymore. So even with higher, music in higher positions, you can see that in this example here, La Cathedral by Barrios, there's lots of these references you can use. We've got two pivot fingers there, 2 pivot notes that are holding, and then we have 2 close notes. So even though we're in this high position, there's not much movement happening, and the more aware of that you are, the easier playing in the high positions becomes. So as I'm saying here, the better you get at finding references, the less you have to worry about when reading. Okay. The last aspect is rhythm. So here are 3 main topics about rhythms: grouping rhythms, reading rhythms, and playing rhythms. So one of the things I've noticed about people who read rhythms is that sometimes people will subdivide every single beat and try to kind of work out the rhythm based on that. And I find that a very tedious and ineffective way to learn rhythm. I mean, unless you've got a really difficult rhythm where you need to do that, I don't think it's going to be the most efficient way to learn rhythm. So instead, you can learn the main rhythm groups that you have in different time signatures. So this is kind of like learning your scales and then seeing a scale that's in a piece of music. It's kind of like a building block of music. Rhythms are building blocks too, and there are very common building blocks in rhythm that you find. And so these are all of the most common rhythms you find. So if you practice these, if you practice grouping these and seeing these groups, then you'll be a lot less overwhelmed when you read rhythm. So we've got some examples here, and here you're supposed to, match what rhythms you find here with the groups up here. Okay. And then reading rhythms. We've got some markings here. Reading rhythms here. So when we read rhythms, how can we do that? So you can speak rhythms out by using these different syllables like T, 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 and ta, ta, triola, triola, and so on. Okay, so you can speak those rhythms. You really get to know them that way, internalize them, learn them like a building block, like a word in music. So we have the reading rhythm part there. So you read through a piece that that's another way to sight read, is to just read the rhythm out. And then playing rhythms. So one way you can do this to simplify things is to, again, sight read just the rhythm on its own, playing the rhythm on the guitar on an open string. So that rhythm becomes right, okay, and you could feel free to speak out the rhythm as well, yeah? Tu, ta, ta, tu, ta, 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 and so on as you play. Okay, so those are the main aspects of the workshop that'll be on December 1st. And then at the end of the book here, there's an appendix with graded pieces for you to practice if you need that. I think it's quite important. Another question I get is, what materials do I use? So I've got a bunch of pieces in different grades here, beginner pieces, and then intermediate here, getting a bit more dense, a little bit higher in positions, and then advanced examples here. Okay, so quite a few for each level. Alright, so if you're interested, I'd love to see you on December 1st on Zoom, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. And if you want to take your sight reading all the way, there will be more of these workshops in the month of December. So week 1, materials and processes, that's what I've just walked you through a little bit there. Week 2, we'll be talking about preparation. What sort of things can you do to prepare for something before you're about to read it? Because there are lots of different expectations that you can practice for. Right, there are certain things to expect, and you can practice them, and then when you see those expectations happen, you're ready. Week 3 will cover the fretboard and just learning the fretboard in a lot of detail, right? Just the whole fretboard, learning the fretboard in depth. And then week 4 will be working on musicianship, so singing and more on rhythms as well. So, and singing and playing for maximum skill level. So that really helps you to internalize the music you're reading. Okay, so here are some examples. Like this is kind of week 1 material. This is an example of week 2 material here with some chords that you find in very, very common chords that you find in different keys. These are called the primary chords. Right, all covering the whole fretboard. And then using various fretboard charts and various exercises to learn the fretboard as well. So yeah, you can register for the 4-week course now if you're interested. Here's the schedule in a bit more detail, what sort of things we'll be covering in each week, and there are different tasks as well in each week. So early bird registration is $200 for the 4 weeks course there. We'll be having a Zoom workshop each week, and then being in touch over the week with your tasks and your work. So I hope to see you at the free workshop, or at if you decide to register, I'd love to see you over the month of December. So be great to help you out with sight reading. I know how frustrating it can feel when you're kind of stuck and you've got all books and books of these beautiful pieces you want to read through, but it just takes so long, and when you've learned one piece and you're going to learn another one, and you just have to go right back to square one. And this course, I think, will give you the materials and the tools for you to be able to continually improve your sight reading. You'll just continue to improve your reading from here. I think you'll see instant improvements, or pretty much instant improvements, during the workshops. But obviously the practice as well that you do will be very fruitful. So thanks so much, and I hope to see you around. Bye.